Well, welcome everyone to the podcast. I'm Sue Pruitt.
And I'm Larry.
And we were talking about, well, first of all, it's episode 29. We always have to say that at the beginning.
That's right.
And we were talking just earlier today about what a challenge it is to name things.
That's right. And so if anybody who is listening or watching, if you're a parent, then you will get this, right? I always remember thinking, man, it's a good thing we've got 9 months to figure this out.
Yeah.
And of course, we didn't know the gender at the very beginning, so we really had a shorter amount of time than
we
9
actually
months.
Didn't know the gender for most of the kids.
That's true.
Before they were born. We knew it as soon as they were born. I don't want to give off the wrong vibe. We knew it as soon as they were born, but we didn't know before they were born because we didn't do that kind of thing.
We were
way back then.
Yeah, because back some of the pregnancies they didn't require ultrasounds.
Right. Some did.
I can say with one of our children, there was like weekly ultrasounds.
Yes, for about 8 weeks.
Some potential concerns.
Mm-hmm.
So you're right. So we actually went through the process of naming a boy and a girl.
Every time.
It's been a while.
Well, all but.
I've forgotten about all this.
Yes.
It's been, our youngest is 19, so I kind of forgot about that. But
well, do you remember what the things that we thought about when we were trying to come up with a name? Mm-hmm. It was very interesting because you had all these things that you had to consider.
Right. There's kind of some rules that we put on ourselves.
Well, yeah, we did.
Some requirements.
I mean, one of them was that we wanted it to be easy to remember.
Right. And it needed to flow well with
the last name, Pruitt.
So we thought about you got to come up with two names. You got to come up with the first name and the middle name.
Yes, absolutely.
That will flow well.
Absolutely. And of course, it was super important to us what the name meant.
Yes.
We wanted to pick a name that had a strong meaning behind it. Right. So that was important to us as well.
Yes. And then there's things like, I don't know, maybe most parents think about like, let's make this easy to spell for the poor kid.
Yeah.
But we didn't do that.
We didn't do that every time. Yeah.
Yeah, not every time.
Some of the kids, they're easy to spell, and some of them, they're not.
Right. And some of them, like people would presume that it's spelled a certain way, but it's really spelled a different way.
Right. We picked an uncommon
sorry,
spelling.
Kids.
Sorry.
Because with our last name being Pruett, the most common spelling of our last name is Pruitt. So our kids already had to spell their last name.
Right.
And now they have to spell their first name and their last name for people.
Yes.
I don't know.
But that's okay. They learned how to spell their name really quickly.
Yes, they've got to have some emotional baggage. If that's the only emotional baggage they have, then we've done okay, right?
That's a big yeah. We also, to us, the meaning behind it, and it was important to us because we wanted to help them aspire to be people of good character, people who had good character traits, and that's what a lot of names refer to is a character trait.
And so as it turns out, like all of the names that we give our kids were biblical names.
Yes.
So one of them was the feminine name of a masculine character in the Bible. But so that's kind of how we settled on that. You know, even this is not as important, but even naming a pet.
Oh yeah, that was a challenge. Well, that was even harder because we had 7 people contributing ideas.
Yes.
Instead of just 2.
Yes. And I guess really we've had 2 pets though.
Right. We've had 2.
So it's like the first one, we kind of settled on something.
Yes.
The second one, we did what did we do? We did a
head-to-head competition between all the names. Everybody wrote down their favorite names. We narrowed it down to 16 possibilities. And then we just kept pairing them up and picking the favorite between the 2 until we got down to just one.
Yeah. But don't recommend that with kids.
That was interesting.
We could have our older kids help us to name our younger kids, but we didn't do that.
No, we didn't do that. No.
So why are we talking about all this?
Well, because we have a new name for the podcast.
We do. Yeah, our podcast.
It's we're having a midlife crisis for episode 29. I don't know. No.
We're turning 29. Man, that's too early to have a midlife crisis,
too early.
Though.
I don't know what you call it.
Until our 50th episode.
No, it's much easier now.
It's much easier now because it's not just the name of our podcast, it's our entire business.
Exactly.
And Actually, it's interesting if you go back in some of the previous episodes, we talked quite a little bit about how we came up with the name of the business and therefore the podcast, which was Gen 224 Marriage.
Mm-hmm.
And we love that name.
Yeah, it meant a lot to us. There was some good, strong meaning behind it for us.
Yeah, we followed the same pattern
as
naming a child with maybe not thinking about it.
It was easy to spell. It was easy, so there were some things there that we followed.
Right.
Another good rule for naming a business is that it's easy to understand. Like Correct. As soon as somebody hears the name, they go, "Oh, I have an idea of what you do."
Yes.
And I don't know that was the case always with that name.
No.
Like people who had a strong study in marriage, maybe you would have been like, "Oh, I know where you got that," but otherwise.
Well, yeah, I think that it reflected the marriage end of things, which is the primary aspect of what we are doing.
Right.
But when we kind of bring in the business side of things to it, it didn't reflect that at all.
No, right. That's right. We had people who thought that we were counseling people on the brink of divorce, and that wasn't.
We're not marriage counselors.
No, that wasn't our hope to be that. We're not praying for that. So
anytime we would talk to somebody about it and even like ask for referrals, the most common response was, I don't know anybody who is really struggling in their marriage right now.
Yeah.
And so we were like, okay, that's not what we were asking. So we realized that our messaging was off just by the name and maybe even some other things along the way of how we are saying certain things. So it definitely represented who we are.
Yes.
And what we stand for, but it didn't necessarily really convey to everybody what we are doing.
Yes.
In marriage and business coaching.
Right. So we picked a new name.
Drum roll, please.
You've already seen it. It's kind of anticlimactic at this point.
And so our name is SideBySide Business.
Yes.
I'll allow the crowd to kind of quiet down a little bit.
Everybody's cheering.
That big reveal there and everything. So SideBySide Business, again, kind of going through those things.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty simple when we say side by side. When we can say SideBySideBusiness.com, I think you'll know how to spell that.
Yeah.
I think you'll be able to find our website really easily.
Yeah. No confusion over numbers or do I spell it out or any that kind of
thing. And we are guests on other people's podcasts on occasion. And so always before we would have to spell out we'd say Gen 224 and then we'd be like, okay, GEN, the numbers 224, so we'd have to say all that. Now it's just SideBySideBusiness.com/connect to get to our Connect card. So by the way, if you want our free Connect cards and to get on our email newsletter, that's how you do it. And so that is going to be much easier for us to convey to people. So that it definitely passes the spelling rule and all of that.
I think it kind of begins to give people an idea of what we do as well, because side-by-side business, I mean, those words have some pretty common meaning and pretty. So I hope when you saw the name of the podcast that you went, that's a good name because it's about doing business together, side by side. That's our hope.
Yes. And we'd love your feedback on that, by the way. Also, if you could put a comment wherever you're watching this, or you can email us, Larry and Sue at SideBySideBusiness.com. See how easy that is to say?
That's so easy. I love it.
So it's got the word business in there. And that's the other thing is that we were kind of thinking through how do we convey this, that we are doing not just marriage coaching, but also business coaching, but it's married entrepreneurs. And so that word, entrepreneur, is just not easy to say.
I should look up the origin of that word. I don't get it because it's super hard to spell. It's even hard to say, but entrepreneurs are the people who make the world run. I mean,
I think it's a French word for you're crazy.
That's our new meaning.
What is wrong with you? No. And we love entrepreneurs. We love entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
And we've kind of talked about that before, that we didn't think we were entrepreneurs, and then we discovered that along the way.
Yeah.
And now we've just fully embraced it. But yeah, we had a lot of names that we were considering that had the word entrepreneur in it. And it's just like, I don't think anybody knows how to spell that,
Yeah.
And even
it's way too easy to misspell.
Yeah. So anyway, we went with something that was easy. That was a big part of it. And just kind of the funny thing about this, as I reflect back, is that the domain name, SideBySideBusiness.com, we purchased that in 2015.
10 years we had it before we used it.
Yes, it's 2025 at the time of this recording.
That's another sign that you're an entrepreneur, is that you have a collection of domain names that you haven't necessarily put to use yet.
Yes. And so we'd love to hear from you. How many domain names do you own?
Yes. One of our coaches we were talking with yesterday, he said he had 40 at one point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he has 40 currently, or I think he's pared it down.
Yeah.
Since that time. We've done the same thing. We probably have owned 40 over the last 10 years.
Yeah.
And have let some of them kind of expire. Somebody else it was a coaching call, a group coaching call. And one of the guys said he was at 50 at one point. He's pared it down to 25 now. So I think we're in good company when it comes to that, because it just kind of reflects that you're creative, that you're thinking of new ideas constantly, and that you purchase those. And domain names are cheap.
Oh, they are.
The way they do that, like the first year is $1. It's kind of like an addiction. You're like, the first one's free, and then they get you addicted to it. So they normally do it like for $1, and then it's
$15 a year, something like that.
A year. And so you almost don't even recognize it, which is a little bit of a danger.
Yeah.
So we had, and we talked about that at the beginning of doing this. Like, this is 10 years in the making.
Yes.
And it was 10 years ago that we had that Sunday school class that we taught.
And
then as soon as we got done, somebody encouraged us and said, what's next? What are you going to do with this? And during our brainstorming times that we had between us and then with other people who were invested in what we're doing.
Yes.
SideBySide Business was one of the very first names that we came up with. We just didn't do anything with it.
Yeah.
And then whenever we kind of revitalized this, which is really about a year ago that we revitalized things and we started thinking about names, I think we considered SideBySide at the time.
Yeah. We forgot we had that domain name, obviously. But
part of the reason why we forgot it, by the way, is we've got one company that most of our domains are there, and we had purchased this domain through a different provider.
That's right. That's right.
And so that provider only has this one domain with it. And I mean, it's flat out a miracle that I remembered who that was, and I went back there and I found that. And so the Lord just kind of was kind to us and helped us to say, like, hey, you've got that domain already.
Right.
And I don't know, I may even looked it up to see if it was available. And I'm like, oh, it's not available. It's not available because we own it.
It was a little bit of a trek.
I had to research it. And so it honestly has been quite the challenge over the last, week or two since we really made this decision.
I think it's been about 2 weeks, because
maybe 2 weeks.
You've been doing a lot.
Yeah. And it's been a challenge on the website, and then to get the old website to point to the new website. And I'm not a website developer by any stretch of the imagination. And so I have gotten knee deep into C names and domain name servers, and I don't even know what they mean. And I'm on these calls or chats with technical support. I'm really going on a rabbit trail now. Bear with me. We'll get back on the point here momentarily. But, I'm on these chats with people, and they're throwing out these terms, and I just had to say, like, look, I do not, you're speaking a foreign language to me. I do not understand. All right, does anybody relate to that?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's get back on point now.
Yeah. Well, it's another sign of being an entrepreneur is you take on tasks that you're not necessarily in your wheelhouse at the very beginning of any new project. So
someday we will be hiring somebody to do all that for us, but we're at early stages, so we're doing it ourselves. So so anyway, so that's the new name, and we really like it. We think that it is going to be easier for people to understand. The feedback that we've received so far has been very, very positive from people in our target market and even people who are not in our target market, it helps them to know who to refer to us even. For sure. And that's it basically is married entrepreneurs, so that's our target market.
Absolutely. And so we are excited about this new name. I hope that you guys can feel the excitement that we have. And I think we've just about completed transferring everything over to the new name and all the new, we had a new logo, all that kind of stuff.
Yes. And so, by the way, if you're on our newsletter list, we definitely noticed that the transfer of sending it out from Larry and Sue at SideBySideBusiness.com, not very many people are getting the email, and so you need to whitelist that email so that you'll get it. All right. So if you haven't seen anything from us for a while, that's probably why.
Yes, because we're still sending emails.
We are. That's right.
For sure.
So we'd love your feedback on this. Let us know what you think of it. We'd also love for you to rate wherever you're watching or listening to this. If you could give us that 5-star rating, that is very, very helpful for us. And if you know of somebody who this podcast, maybe this episode won't be terribly exciting to refer to somebody, but our podcast in general, you don't think so?
I think it's a thrilling episode.
It's a thrilling episode.
I think this is that people want this stuff, especially entrepreneurs. They want to hear how it happens.
Yes, well, that's true. We're kind of getting behind the scenes.
Yes, we are giving a behind the scenes peek.
But anyway, we'd love for you to maybe get the link to this particular episode or our podcast in general and send that to somebody that you know who's a married couple who is working a business together, because we want to serve, we want to encourage, and we want to challenge those married entrepreneurs out there.
Absolutely. So we hope that you take the information that you got today, this little behind the scenes peek, get a little bit of inside baseball, as they like to say. How about that? Do I get 1,000 points for baseball?
1,000 points for baseball reference. Love it.
Get a little inside baseball, and we hope that you take this and keep building your business
side by side. Take care, everybody.
Bye.